Over the last 2 days, I have been in some sort of a retreat here on this farm and enjoyed the benefits. I won't say it has done much for me mentally, but spiritually, I hope it has had its value, which is what a retreat is for. And being a native of these lands, used to seeing agriculture, farms flourishing, cows being milked, cattle being fed, the calves, making their own noise in appeal to their mothers. We slide into some nostalgic memories of childhood. And I must tell you frankly, I've had one feeling all these years in Sahaj Marg, which have been bliss-filled years, especially during those 18 or 20 years when Babuji Maharaj was there. I was with him. And I have discovered quite early in life that the best position to occupy in life is that of number 2, not of number 1. Because when you are number 2, number 1 protects you, instructs you, guides you, teaches you. And suddenly one morning you find you are number 1 and you are out on a limb, so to speak. With many people waiting to cut that limb between you and the main tree. And sometimes I get the impression that I am also myself trying to saw away the branch between me and the tree rather than the other side, you see. Because it is always in that area that you find resistance, you find opposition, you find enmity, to talk of extremes, and perhaps the final, crime, even of trying to do away with you. So those blissful years come back to me, but before that I had even more blissful years during my school days in Jabalpur. We had a huge bungalow in a huge compound measuring about 8 acres, which is about 3 hectares. Lush with gardens, front garden full of fruit-bearing trees, flowers, beds of flowers, rear garden being used for vegetables. And we really had it, like royalty. The trees were sparkling all night with fireflies, thousands and thousands of them. We used to sleep out in the open with mosquito nets all around our cots. And our Mali, the gardener, used to catch a few fireflies and put it to the mosquito net, you see. And a bag full of jasmine on the beds. We slept like royalty. Often I feel that all this is a dream, neither good nor bad, not a nightmare, but a dream nevertheless, from which I will wake up and find myself back as a schoolboy in Jabalpur in my father's home. I suppose it has behind it a great deal of wishful thinking that, oh, for heaven's sake, if I only could be there all over again, Because while I did sleep in those days on beds of jasmine, if not on beds of roses, today perhaps it's more a bed of thorns than a bed of anything. All because of the mission. People outside, always envy those who are inside. For instance, people on the ground who never travel by air think when they see a flight, oh, what wonderful thing, they must be enjoying. But I know how miserable a plane travel can be. Even when it is good weather, the flight is good, everything is good. But it is bad because you are out of your element. And I get cramps, I get pain in my legs. 2 hours is about the maximum now at this age. Though in my prime, I have had to travel sometimes between Bombay and Delhi as much as 5 times a week. I mean, I am not a traveler unaccustomed to traveling. I have traveled all over since the age of, I think, 8. In those days, I traveled within India After I joined my company, I traveled outside India. And in my mission, I am doing both. Why I say this is because one thing that is lacking in India, totally, as well as in Sahaj Marg, which I consider a mirror image to a small extent of India, or the other way around. A small India is the mission, the larger India is my whole country, and each is a reflection of the other, as above, so below. The same indiscipline, the same disregard for rules, the same unwillingness to pay their whatever, if you are public life, it's taxes, moral responsibilities, in mission. They don't want to pay for their food, they don't want to pay for water, they don't want to pay for bedding. And when we have large gatherings, we have this so-called, delegate donation, which is a bugbear. I really regret having persuaded Babuji Maharaj way back in '67. When I became the secretary, I had to persuade him over 3 years, because he used to pay for everything out of his pension. And his pension is about, 30 rupees a month, I think. I told him, Babuji, you cannot go on paying for this, because when I was first here, it was 40 people. Now there are 200 people. Soon there will be 2,000. You must charge something. 3 years later, he agreed. And we started with, I think, 18 rupees for the 3 days. Those were cheap days, and we could manage. Now generally it's 30 rupees a day, then it became 50, then it became 100. I agree, that amounts are increasing. But where you could eat for 2 rupees one meal in those days, you have to pay at least 50 today. So discipline is totally lacking. Discipline in the sense that it is all selfishness on the side of the recipients, and total inability to do anything on the part of those who are administering, either the country or the mission, it doesn't matter which. And like the country where the rich people don't want to pay taxes, and the salaried class who can't avoid it do pay without even thinking about it, in the mission too I have found the rich people instigating the poorer people, why do you pay? The mission has enough money, Chariji will never show you the accounts, only because of this. He is amassing wealth. Somebody corrects them and say, oh, it's only for the mission. He says, true, but why don't the mission spend it? I wish to put it on record that after Babuji's Mahasamadhi in 1983, the mission has grown in such proportion to what it was that it is difficult to even state it. One auditor told me that if the mission had been a corporate body, public company, in 1983, if it had issued shares of 10 rupees, which reflected a real value, today that 10 rupee share would be worth 1 crore rupees. An auditor, no less. So you see, mission has grown. But again, 800 abhyasis, 2,000 abhyasis of those days, today there are hundreds of thousands of abhyasis. In my first Basant, I said there were 42, including Babuji Maharaj. In '82, the last occasion when Babuji was physically present at Basant, it was 2,800. I have figures because, by nature I like to know what is going on, how many came, how many meals were served. I have records for every occasion I have personally presided over as secretary. Today, on an average, in Madras, on Sundays we have more than 3,000 people. And the food is free. Yet, people say, well, after all, Babuji liked to feed people, Chariji is only doing what his master wanted. It is in that connection I want to tell you what Babuji told to me, which was virtually his last order to me. He said, Parsarthi, maintain discipline in this mission. There is no discipline, and I am the cause of it. I'm quoting Babuji Maharaj. He said, I am the cause of it because I have said yes to everything. हमने सबके हाँ में हाँ मिलाते गए. And I came under everybody's compulsion. हम सबके मुरब्बत में आ गए. मोहब्बत में नहीं, मुरब्बत में आ गए. I'm quoting in Hindi and English. Babuji said, I have said yes to everybody and I have been a slave of their compulsions, not their love. In Hindi, muhabbat and murabbat. Similar sounding, but with an enormous distinction. One is love, one is compulsion. I said, Babuji, you know, I've been trying hard and we have had a lot of improvement in discipline. But if you want total discipline, I'm afraid everybody will leave. I have said this before, but I say it for the last time today, I hope. He said, Parsarthi, I don't care if everybody leaves, so long as you are there in the mission, it's enough. But I am accused every day, lovingly of course, and with good intention, that there is no discipline. I know it. And I know I am also the cause of it. You see, because the president of the mission, Sri Ramchandra Mission, combines in himself the duty of, shall we say, the chief executive officer of the corporation, which demands total discipline, fiscal, behavioral, name it, it must be total. And he is also the spiritual head of the institution, where it demands understanding, human understanding, compassion, love, merciful attitude, willing to take on his punishment upon myself. Now the problem in maintaining discipline has been how to balance these two functions. It's all right to talk of Solomon's justice, you know. You have a baby, you cut it and distribute it. A very crude sort of justice, effective, yes. Nevertheless crude. But today you can't deal with the situations like that. And Solomon was no spiritual leader, he was just a king. Later on he has been sort of elevated to a status of what do they call the prophets. So this is a dilemma, you know. It's a dilemma in how to behave, how to administer, you know. And I have sought guidance from people, from him. And Babuji always said, always deal with love. So he created the dilemma in a sense, you know, asking me to instill discipline, maintain discipline, even if everybody left, and he said also, always do it with love. So I said, well, I suppose it's like, you know, a judge who has no personal grudge against the man who is being judged. And dispassionately you have to judge. But that is precisely what is not possible here. For instance, in our discussion, Krishna, my son, took the name of Portia, you know, who says justice with mercy. Yes, it is possible, justice with mercy. But then what is justice with mercy? If a man deserves to die because he committed a murder, do we let him off when the law demands that he be put on the gallows? Should it be considered as mercy or weakness? Would it be leaving a precedent, legal precedent? You know, we all heard of two presidents who are facing impeachment in the United States and the succeeding president pardoning him. One famous example, the Watergate, Richard Nixon. Was the president right? Was he creating a precedent that every succeeding president should pardon all the sins and corruptions of the previous president, just in case he should be impeached? Are we being just because we are afraid of committing something for which we need justice? Are we expecting our God to be merciful because we need mercy? Or are we expecting a goddess to be rich and to pour her benevolence in the shape of gold upon us because we need money? Or are we worshipping God as all-knower because we need knowledge? If you think in terms like this, you always see man fashioning a God in the image that he desires that God to possess. I am sinful, I am a sinner, I need to be pardoned, dealt with justice. O merciful God, I am well endowed in odd ways, but I have no health. O God of the body, Hanuman, please bestow your power on me. I am wealthy, I have a good family background, but I am an idiot. O Saraswati, goddess of knowledge, bless me with knowledge. Are we not creating gods and goddesses according to our needs? And if it is a Rakshasa like Ravana, we worship a Kali with her 20 arms, a necklace of skulls around her neck, lolling tongue, blood dripping from it, and praying for her strength to destroy, destroy, destroy. Who are these gods that are governing this world? Are we governing the world through an image we create for ourselves and we call it a god or a goddess? This has been a very, tricky question I have asked myself ever since I was 16 or 17 when I went to Calcutta and began my education in college there. I had been to the Kali temple in, Kali Ghat, and it was a frightening deity there. Exactly as I have pictured, black stone image, red eyes, bloody, lolling red tongue, blood dripping, 20 arms with different instruments of torture and destruction, and a huge knife, curved knife like this, outside on a pedestal, where people come with goats or kids, catch them by the rear legs, and tadang, and the leg is off. This was the animal sacrifice offered there, and in early British days, I am told as many as 10,000 buffaloes were sacrificed every day. And the Hooghly literally ran blood. Even now when animal sacrifice is forbidden, it is rampant in Bengal. So I don't know whether a God exists. I am not atheistic because I have my God, my master. So I think, religion is a creation created by humans in need of whatever they stood, of food, clothing, strength, intelligence, ability to do violence, ability to destroy, knowledge. So the Indian pantheon is full of these gods and goddesses, each one of a particular function. So Babuji was very right when he said, they are but instruments, they are, what did he call them, functionaries of nature. Brahma the creator, Vishnu the protector, Shiva the destroyer. Makes sense. Because we worship, Suppose a man wants to destroy his colleague and step on his shoulders. He would choose a boss who has no mercy, who says, kill the other guy. So religion is to be taken with not just merely a pinch of salt, but kilograms of salt. In the full knowledge, conviction that if I have a God among this pantheon of gods, I have created it to fulfill my needs, and my worship of that deity is a fraud, is a humbug, it's a denial of the truth that there was ever a God, because if that can be a God whom I created, then what is the real God doing without just putting a stroke of lightning on me and destroying me at that moment? You see, that a real God can tolerate so much unholiness, so much selfishness, so much criminal